Hello, welcome to Trader.tv. My name is Robert Sievers. Today we're here with Kym Watson from EzeeTrader.com. How are you doing today, Kym?
I'm great, thank you very much. Yes,
Excellent. So let's go ahead and let's get started with the interview. When did you first become interested in the financial markets?
it was just after leaving school. Really, I joined a company which offered share options, buy as you earn scheme, and it seemed. I was told by the old fellas that worked for the company, you should do this. You'll make money. And sure enough, you bought the options at like 60p at the time. 5 years later, they were worth £6, and it really got me into the options markets and the idea of trading. And of course, we went through a whole phase of Margaret Thatcher selling off different parts of the nationalised companies, and so we had British Gas and loads of other shares that were available to us to buy. So it only made sense to buy what you could buy and make some money from them. It seemed like a good turnaround to fund my enjoyment of motorbikes at the time.
Of course. So it was kind of a means for you to really kind of fuel what you were interested in, what your hobbies were. So,
Exactly. Yes. Yes.
all right. So then, what did you do before you started trading? I mean, obviously you said you were into motorbikes and stuff a little bit, but what did you do as like a professional work?
Well, I started off a construction company in the very first stages where I was gradually promoted to general manager. So I got to understand companies and their finance a lot more. Which really got me into and being offered options, of course, financial, and you get executive options and things like this. It really sort of drove me to the idea. Well, actually, I could be trading some of this, not obviously the executive options, but I could trade options.
Hmm.
So it really got an interest into it. I worked for AIG just shortly before.
Okay.
Deciding I've had enough of working for companies. I want to work and just trade for myself. It's a completely different lifestyle.
Okay. The next question is basically, I mean, I guess you kind of answered part of it, but how do you think that really kind of prepared you for your career in trading and for obviously starting the website EzeeTrader.com?
The original, when we used to buy shares. So it was a case of when we used to buy shares, it was the background of understanding finance of companies was pretty helpful to find good stocks. We traded the US markets actually. I didn't a lot of the
Okay.
time because the options were available share, and there's so much more variety in those days. I mean, it's back in sort of late 1990s and leading into 2000. So it was really a case of what gave us the best rewards, and we could make sort of 7% a month on a just buying a selling a covered call effectively.
Wow.
So in those days when interest rates were relatively modest and but better than they are now, of course, the options were really tradable, and you may get called away and make 7% on your option plus whatever you got called away on the value of the share. So it was quite lucrative times in those days. So yeah, the background, understanding companies perhaps meant that we bought good companies, and we went down that road of buying good companies, buying the shares in good companies, then dealing in the options of. So it's beneficial from that point of view. But aside of that, not a great deal. I mean, a lot of what I've learned, I don't look at the fundamentals anymore because I trade currencies. So
Okay.
I'll look at what's happening in the big picture, but it's not really going to. I mean, it's already on the screen what's happening. When you get news events come out, they're on the screen. The price reacts immediately,
Yeah.
or it's built in. So really now it's pure technical trading that I say near enough purely technical trading. I mean, we're not daft enough to ignore news, of course,
Of course, of course.
but
But for the most
it's
part,
principally technical trading. Yes, it's a lot easier that way.
okay. And then so we talked about this a little bit as well. I mean, basically the type of assets you typically trade, I'm guessing, is options, and you're trading a lot of
Originally,
currencies. But do you trade anything else like that? Do you trade normal stocks? Do you trade the FTSE or the CAC 40 or anything along those lines?
no, no, no.
Okay.
I initially I was trading everything, and I was then started. I really got into forex,
Okay.
and then I just found it. You become sort of a jack of all trades and master of none, and you never get particularly good at anything.
Yeah.
By just focusing, it made a significant difference to the bottom line. So messing around with all the other bits and pieces, I think it's great to have like swing trading but again, it can be forex. It doesn't have to be stocks or the equities.
How long does a typical trade last for you? I think that's the question we were on.
Okay. A typical trade would last anything between a couple of minutes and maybe 2 or 3 hours. I mean, as a saying, if the longer I'm in it, the better in some respects, providing it's going in the right direction. Trying to get the sort of move of the day, so it can be 3 to 6 hours if it really works and I get a decent run on it. But quite often, the majority will be somewhere between 2 to 3 minutes through to a couple of hours in general.
Okay. And then we were talking. I think that your partner Charlie also does some swing trading. So obviously his trades are a little bit longer than yours.
Yeah, he's last a few days, which
Okay.
I don't know how he can keep in there for that long. But seriously,
You don't sleep very well at night sometimes, I think, you know.
No, I sleep very well at night. Sometimes I'll trade overnight. There are some strategies I have which will actually work into the next day. So it may be like midnight or 11 o'clock in the evening when I'm entering them. It's a couple of strategies that they're quite sort of late and they run out, swing over. So, but in the main, what Charlie's doing there, yeah, he's just sort of got a forum of people which are members of a group effectively, and he's not calling all his swings, but he's taught them, and then he just goes over what he's taught them on a sort of webinar basis. So it really ingrains what they're learning all of the time.
Okay, excellent. So yeah, let's go ahead and let's keep going. I mean, basically the next question is talking a little bit more kind of about EzeeTrader and how it started. And so that's kind of one of the things that I read about EzeeTrader on your website, was that it kind of started as almost like a little group that you guys were with. And if you could just tell me a little bit about it and how you guys started. And
Yeah, sure. I mean, it started out of boredom, if I'm honest. We started. There was just two of us just trading along, and it was in the days when mobile phone bills were ridiculously expensive, and we would be spending up to $1,000 a month on mobile phone bills each. Just chatting, because we both come from busy environments where we talk to people a lot, and then all of a sudden you're sitting at home first day, effectively, or first few days, and you're just looking at charts and there's no one to talk to.
Yeah.
So it came from there, and then we were asked to do different things, and we had a hell of a lot of information that we've been capturing from the stocks that we were looking at in those days. So we decided, well, why not? We got approached by a company, the education company. Would you mind? You got the material, we write for it, and we started our own newsletter, and we white labeled a newsletter for them, and it all started really from the newsletter in the first place.
Okay.
And then we found technology, and we found we could speak to people as opposed to have to do the writing down bit, which we didn't ever really enjoy so much. We used to write a newsletter. We did it for about 7 or 8 years, but it was never really, publishing was never really the enjoyable bit. But the enjoyable bit is trading, and we switched then to a live basis where we now live trade every day from our offices, and we can sit here, we can share our screens, our monitors, and people can see what we're doing as we're trading, so they can trade with us. It's great for us. We've got company. We've got 50, 60 people in the trading room with us, on the virtual trading room, and they're all sitting at home, and they've got company, and it gets you in trades. And one of the main things that we do with people is keep them out of trades, because the temptation is you think you're a day trader, so I should be trading all the time. I can be taking 1 or 2 trades a day. I've traded 4 trades today, which is quite a busy morning relatively, but some days I may only be in 1 or 2 trades, and that may be it for the day, done. So day trading isn't like we're not scalpers that we're flicking away with a sort of in out sort of position. I'm looking for sort of reasonable amount of points each time. So, and that's what we're doing with EzeeTrader. So it's very much down that sort of route of very much teach people how to do it, but then hold their hands while they're learning, so they can really get on and do. Make it a lifestyle, because trading for me is lifestyle, and that's what we're trying to help other people achieve, their lifestyle. If you want to finish at 12 o'clock every day, you can finish at 12 o'clock every day and go off and do whatever you want to do. That's lifestyle, and that's what trading should be about.
It's one of the beauties of trading. But I think it is important that you talk a little bit kind of about the discipline, about trading, and about knowing necessarily when to get in and out of trades. For example, say you have a good morning, you have 2 or 3 good trades that work out for you. it's important as a new trader or a new investor, to realize that that doesn't necessarily mean that it's a good day and that you're going to get good trades for the rest of the day. It's more important, I think, to sometimes hold on to those profits. Obviously, unless you
Sure.
see something that pops up on your
Yeah.
screen or alerts you, a chart looks like it's setting up for to make the right movements. But it's important, I think, as a beginning trader, not to get too full of yourself. Like, of course, having confidence is important, but not to think that you're kind of invincible to some extent. So
I totally agree.
yeah, and I think it's very interesting also that EzeeTrader, you kind of really you really have progressed kind of as technology almost progressed, because I read on your website that I think you guys started in 2002, so congratulations on being an education website for almost 14 years, 15 years now. And but it seems like you guys kind of started bouncing ideas off each other, and then slowly it kind of built into this education process, where you're sharing it with Kevin, and you're doing a little bit more. I think we were talking before about how you do the live trading in the morning. I believe it's a little bit more kind of like information to help a lot of people with doing their own trades, and then later on in the day, the second half is when Kevin comes on, and he helps much more with some of the education and really doing a lot of passing on information, passing on the education to the other students that you guys have there. So
Sure.
I highly recommend checking out EzeeTrader.com. The next question is, what strategies do you guys typically usually teach? I know we were talking a little bit about doing some gap trading and that sort of stuff. I mean, but obviously Charlie does some swing trading. But could you give us a little bit of an idea, kind of?
Yeah, a lot of my trading is trend-based trading effectively,
Okay.
but I use pivots. We were talking about them before,
Yeah.
but we call floor pivots if your listeners haven't come across them before. They're extremely good to use. I would strongly recommend you put floor pivots on whatever you're trading, whether you're trading stocks, anything else. You can look at them from a monthly basis, a weekly basis, a daily basis, a 4-hourly basis, and that they all are very, very useful for good levels of support and resistance. But for me, the great thing is you can measure the probability of things once you've got an unmoving figure on there, and it's a forward focused type of indicator, whereas most indicators are based on what price is done. Well, it still is calculating what price is done, but it predicts levels of support and resistance. So it's more of a predictive tool in a sense, which makes it quite different compared to most indicators.
Yeah, of course. I mean,
And it doesn't move for that period. So if you're looking at a daily pivot, it stays there all day long, that same pivot. So statistically, you can actually work out what the probability. I mean, if there's resistance levels of 3 resistance levels predominantly used by most traders, and 3 support levels.
mm-hmm.
Now, just to give you a quick figure, if you look at the R3, which is the furthest resistance away from the sort of midpoint, the chances for price actually running through on the euro dollar, for example, is around about 7% in a day. So if you're long and you sort of it's drifting up towards that area, well, the probability of it going much more today is quite low. So and closing, it's only got like a 4% chance of closing outside. So you may as well close as it gets towards it, or if it runs through it quite quickly. But that's maybe a bit different. But you can actually use the pivots quite sensibly to maximize on profit. Sometimes not go into trades when if it's sitting in the sort of upper zones, and you're tempted to go long. Sometimes it will just keep you out because you realize that the probability of going much higher is less.
Okay.
So it's a really useful tool. And so a lot of my personal trading sits around pivots, moving averages, very, very simple. I like candlestick patterns. I generally use just the combination of those. Used to use a lot of Fibonacci, spent absolutely years studying and looking for the holy grail of trading. And I can assure everyone that there is no holy grail. You can get probability. What you won't get is certainty. And so what you need to do is take the probability and trade it with a common sense, using good stop losses, using good targets, ensure your profits are bigger than your losses. You'll crack it. It's easy as that.
Well, I mean, it sounds like you know what you're talking about now. I'd like to make sure that my losses are a lot less than my profits for sure. That sounds like
Sure.
something that most traders should try to look for.
It's sorry, I just to stop you there. There was a study done on this, and most traders actually are very good at getting the direction right, but very bad at actually locking in bigger profits than they do losses, and that's why there's a high percentage of traders, particularly in the forex markets, that lose money. So again, it's another statistical study that's been done out there, which I love stats. So.
I'm sure that's what
It's
helps
one to
you.
bear in mind.
That's what helps you trade well, you know. But I think there is other statistics. I think like 90% of traders end up being non-profitable. I mean, or
Sure.
end up losing money, you know. So it's definitely an important thing to teach, especially when you're dealing with beginners or people that are just starting to trade. And that actually kind of leads into my next question: was what level of trader do you guys typically get at EzeeTrader.com?
Generally, we most of the clients we get or traders that come to us have traded somewhere beforehand, and they're almost given up.
Okay.
We get a lot of word of mouth. We're not out there in the big billboards. Most people probably have never heard of us. We get asked to speak at events quite a lot. Charlie does quite a bit of live trading at some events and did a big challenge a couple of years ago or a year or two ago. It started, but we're quite quiet in what we do in that respect. But clients that we get, they generally know something, and we do have a sort of like an entry level sort of beginners course on our site for people. But in the main, they'll have an understanding of what they want to achieve, and then we just sort of really mold them into a way that what we're finding is work. It's a modeling. It's all about modeling, and if you find something that works and someone that's doing something well, just model what they're doing, and it's a key to success. So. That's what we're trying to do, is get people to do a similar process we work through in terms of every part of the trade. Every trade that we take, if we share anything with our room at the time, we'll be actually pointing out beforehand where the exit points are, where the stops will be, every part of it, the reasoning why we're looking at it. So it's a thorough understanding. So people that come to us generally don't need to know a lot, but something is always helpful, but
Yeah, of
not,
course. A
not
little bit of
essential.
a
We do have something that go there, but what we didn't want to be is two traders that are teaching every weekend at these events that you see around the country in US and UK and elsewhere. We're traders predominantly, and we much rather sit here trading and doing what we're doing when we're trading. It doesn't take our eye off the ball, and we can sit here and it gives us the quality of life. There's no quality of life for me is traveling around teaching every weekend or something, or every other weekend. It just isn't what we want to be doing. So so it's about quality of life.
Okay. Understood. Are there any specific features on EzeeTrader.com that you'd kind of like to share with us? I know before we were talking a little bit about the live trading room, which is obviously a big feature for the education and information, but
that's the main thing is what we're doing there. I mean, there's plenty of free information on EzeeTrader.com, and I blog every morning a morning review for people that are interested in trading forex during the day. I do a very quick. It just literally goes there. We don't email it to you if you're interested. Just get to it's there by 7:45 every morning, okay. And it really gives what I'm looking at during the morning. Quite often there's so many clues there. I might as well lean over and trade it for you. So we've got that on the site. Charlie does some really good quality psychology type updates and talks about trader mindset and things like this a lot on there as well. So there's lots of content which technically will help you, which is on there free. But as I said to you earlier, we've got like a new website that's come out called the EzeeTrader.com, which is just coming up there, and that's specifically for trading and pivots, and it's got every stat you want to have about trading pivots. But that's a lot of that is membership, but again, it's got an educational area on there, how to trade pivots or what they are exactly.
Okay, so would you maybe recommend, for example, like people come check out, EzeeTrader.com, and then from there, once they have a little bit of a base, they can start to build onto the PivotTrader.com, so that Indeed. They can get a better idea of kind of what your real strategy is and the more specifics of that strategy, kind of.
Yeah, I mean the strategies themselves. To be fair, we do in our live trading room. In fact, what I can do for you is, if anyone that's watching this wants, they can come and join us in our live trading room for 2 days for free of charge, just to test it. So if you want to, but you'll need to contact our PA, which she'll love this. If you contact Sam, SAM, at EzeeTrader.com, Sam at EzeeTrader.com, and ask for the next 2-3 days, she'll put you on a list, and she'll email you when we're doing the next 2-3 days in our trading room, and you can come and join us. So you can see what it's about, as opposed to just listen to me telling you what it's about.
All right. Well, I think if it's okay with you, if you want to just send me that email address at the end of at the end of our interview, and then I'll put it in the link for the YouTube or on Trader.tv, so that way the users can get that link.
I'll give you a specific link actually, so it's even easier. So they can just click and it will do it automatically. Perfect. And send it across. But yeah, sure. Perfect.
Well, I definitely recommend that our users go check out EzeeTrader.com. Like Kym was saying, there's a lot of free content up there. For example, 20 rules of easy trading. And then just like you were saying, the psychology of trading as well. I mean, just a couple of them were like fear versus greed, information on patience, emotions, and all of these are good, disciplines. It's all very important to learn the psychological aspects of trading when you're first starting out, when you're first beginning. And the fact that they have a lot of this information up for free is really useful, and I highly recommend that you go check it out. Just to make sure that that EzeeTrader.com and their education process is something that fits well for you. And so I highly recommend checking that out. They also have trading for a living up there as well, and also some information on their YouTube as well. So definitely check that out. Is there anything else that you'd like to add, Kym, before we wrap things up?
No, I think you've pretty well summed it up brilliantly there. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, I appreciate it. Thank you very much, Kym, for joining us today. Again, that's Kym Watson with EzeeTrader.com. Thank you very much for joining us today, and I wish you the best of luck in your future trades. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you for your invitation. Thank you, much appreciated.
Awesome. Thank you again for watching Trader TV, and I really, I hope that you check out EzeeTrader.com. Please, check out. He's got a lot of free content up there. So it's important to at least get a basic idea of that trading psychology for you. So again, thank you very much. Have a good day.